Well, I get to put all that behind me and start Star Trek time.
Yeah, buddy. Let me go grab some water real quick, and then I'm ready to start. I hope you're ready to watch some trailers.
I am excited to watch some trailers. JJ, it's Star Trek time.
Beam me up, Andrew.
Actually, kind of feels like it should always be Star Trek time,
It does feel like that.
especially after watching Lower Decks.
Yes.
Why can't Star Trek be like this all the time?
I don't know. Gosh, man. It's just what a delightful show.
Welcome to Subspace Transmissions. For those of you joining us, JJ and I sit down and realize that we love Star Trek. And like we talk a lot about Star Wars in modern times. But in true We Were Gamers fashion, we also, have to go for the less popular motive.
I also want to say that when we started this, there was not as much Star Trek to talk
No.
about as there is now.
In fact, that is one of the reasons I think we started it was like, we don't get to talk about Star Trek, so let's force ourselves to like watch some old Star Trek. And we started off watching some old episodes, and I think Discovery had just started maybe when we had started this.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because we've been doing this for over 2 years, I think. And
Okay,
Discovery
so
had just
Discovery
started
might
or
have been like
ended.
a year old. Yeah, season one
Yeah,
may have just ended.
I was like, man, maybe we should get back into talking about Star Trek. And now there's so much Star Trek all of a sudden.
It's a lot of Star Trek.
Although a lot of it is in the what I have newly dubbed based on the last subspace transmission, the Kurtzman verse.
Yeah, yeah, not wrong.
Uh, and so that has led to a few struggles, I think, especially in the wider population of popularity. I think we can stomach it enough because we like Star Trek enough to watch it,
Yeah, yeah. I
but
think it's a
it hasn't
not
excelled. Maybe,
yeah, not ideal, but better than nothing, I guess.
yeah. Star Trek enough. Yeah, Lower Decks, however, is not Star Trek enough. It is Star Trek to Warp 11.
They whomever is in that writer's room knows what they are doing, and thank you. They are whoever it is, and I'm sure it's a group of people because shows like this never get written by just one person. But it is just clearly a group of huge Star Trek nerds like us
Yeah,
who are just like
I just can't
Timba
believe.
his arms wide, you know?
I just can't believe the guy that made Rick and Morty was this big of a Star Trek nerd, and like it took making Rick and Morty to get out there and make something this good,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
he's got two shows now. I think he has that Solar Opposites show on Hulu also.
Is the Rick and Morty guy part of the team making
Mike
Lower Deck?
Mike McMahon. I don't know how you say his name, and I apologize for that. But yeah, he's one of the writers and producers on Rick and Morty. I don't think maybe he created it. Yeah.
I think the
Maybe he's just a
creator
writer
is
and producer from there.
the voice actor is one of the creators. I know. I
Oh, well,
don't
then
know.
definitely not. Yeah, he's not one of the voice actors. Oh yeah, he's an EP from season 4 on. So I think he helped start it in so much as being a producer and writer, but now is one of the EPs. So,
Got it.
uh,
Yeah.
oh, he
Because
won an Emmy for Pickle Rick. So
I
now you know.
see.
Uh huh. Oh boy.
Well then,
Well, look, he's clearly a gigantic Star Trek nerd. And
yes.
his writer's room that he has assembled, of which I think in the past we have shouted out many of them as quality episodes and said who the writers were. But fantastic also Star Trek nerds. In so
Yes.
much as they remember something, that they want to use, they clearly go research it and then use it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like
And they
Mugatos.
yes. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And, and they just pick the choicest, silliest things in the history because there's so much. All
Yeah.
the original series stuff is also goofy. Even a lot of the TNG stuff is super goofy. And just like, oh, they pick the silliest stuff to go back and just make little jokes out of.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
It is a good. I would have been very happy if they had slapped this into like a 55-year celebration and made this kind of like bigger.
Hmm.
As the Star Trek's 55 years old, man.
I know, crazy.
Crazy. Do you want to go through the episodes that we just saw, the first 6 of this season, and
Sure, yeah.
just shout out some stuff we. I don't know that there's like, it's not like a Discovery thing where there's a huge plot. I mean, there is an art somewhat underlying plot of the characters wanting to advance from the lower decks but not really getting there. So I
Yeah.
don't. There's not really like a ton maybe to talk about in terms of plot stuff, but each episode has just like a plethora of great stuff, and it's more than halfway through because I think it's only 10 episodes long this year because of the
Yeah.
shortened season.
And I think the first season was 10 episodes too, so
Yeah, maybe that's just their number. Maybe they just aren't going to
thematically
increase it.
consistent or whatever. Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I mean, they're
Yeah.
tight. All the episodes are tight. The seasons are
Yeah.
tight.
I will say I love that they decided to do 30 minutes here and not attempt to do an hour or something slightly longer or whatever. And so, the 25-minute or whatever show
Yeah,
is all this format needs, and it is good.
it is. Yeah, don't extend it.
No.
I love that they reopened the season with not having reset anything. So Boimler starts on the Titan, and we have Will Riker, and we have
Yep.
the
It's like
Cerritos.
every shot you get of Boimler in these first few episodes
He's
is
just
just like
screaming.
screaming. Riker says like engage or let's go or whatever, and then Boimler's like ah.
Yeah, I think
That's like
the first episode, he's like, Boimler, attack pattern Delta. He's like, okay, just
the
screaming.
Yep, and it's just like always red alert on the Titan, always stuff blowing up. It's just like
But we get to the second episode where it's literally almost all about the Titan. But the first one's really good, where you're like, Boimler's not here. He's not. They're not showing him. Obviously, he's still in the show. Jack Quaid still gets like top billing, but
Mhm.
like, what are they doing with him? Oh, he's still on the Titan. It's good revelation. So the first one was when they went to second contact a planet, and Mariner's doing side missions to help her and her mom get along, which is actually making them not get along.
Because remember at the end of last season, like Mariner and her mom sort of shook hands
Yeah.
and were like, I will stop constantly undermining you if you let me in on your little like secret missions and stuff that because all throughout the first season, right, she'd been doing stuff like, the good work of Starfleet, quote unquote, but like breaking the rules
And messing it up
going-
usually.
and yeah, and like going against what her mother said to do as the captain and all
Right.
this stuff. And so then at the end of that season, they sort of shook hands. It's like, all right, I'll like sanction your little side missions sometimes, and you help me like by actually following the rules sometimes. And this was their attempt to be like, hey, look, we're getting along, yay! Except they're both miserable.
It clearly has not gone well. Yeah, and so this was kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back, I guess, in terms of Mariner's side mission this time is she decides she wants to clean.
Right, there's so
The
much
buildings.
smog or dirt or whatever in this.
Yeah. There
and
has
so
all the buildings were covered from their industrial age that they never cleaned up, and she cleans a building and it immediately gives Ransom superpowers.
the strange energies.
Yes, strange energies has returned.
Yes.
Ransom basically goes insane. He turns into like the god creature from Star Trek V, and his head splits from his body, and
Yep.
it's crazy. It's great. Uh,
There are so many dumb, funny parts in this, as like a head floating ransom yelling at the ship. Like
yeah.
they're talking, like they open a channel to the head. They talk to him, and he's like, "No, I want there." Yeah, it's just like it's so silly.
uh the captain is like, oh no, ransom, you're so great, you're good, there's no reason you need to, he's getting all pissed off that Mariner's getting more attention than him.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. And then she just kicks him in square in the nuts and he loses his powers.
Yep. Sometimes you just need to gotta get taken down a peg.
There's certainly a metaphor there. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like we said, there's a little bit of the Titan thrown in there too. It's a nice little opening episode. It has my favorite throwaway characters that are nobody's thinking about, I guess, or like lower decks.
Mm.
When I think Mariner's talking to some other people on the ship, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to get back to cetacean ops."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yes, there's now cetacean ops. They have a whole ops section just developed for the whales."
Yeah, man. Hey.
And it comes back, I think, in episode 5 or 6, and they're talking about like, oh yeah, the whale, blah blah blah. We have to go do the whale, this, that, and the other thing. And there's like, okay, so it's now canon that like the whales are sentient on all planets.
Well, I mean, Star Trek 6 or
I know,
4, right?
4, yeah.
Yeah, save the whales.
I know. It's great. I love that it's
So
just like
silly.
a sub running theme that whales are gonna be everywhere.
Yep.
Episode 2 has a great title, JJ. Kayshawn, his eyes open.
Yes. Ah. And
So
they introduced. Is he a lieutenant? What's his rank? Technically?
Lieutenant, yes, he's a new lieutenant on the ship. The new chief of security somehow.
I thought that was Shax, though.
Well, Shax is dead at this point.
But he's not later.
Right. I wrote that down to
Spoilers.
ask you, what do you think Shax does now that he's not the head of security?
I don't know. I think he's still the head of security. You see him on the bridge.
Yeah. Well, he sits down in the captain's chair, so maybe he's like a third shift guy now. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's very unclear what. Anyway,
He's
we'll
head
get
of
to
security
Shax's
in
next
this
episode.
episode.
Yeah, so
Kayshawn
Kayshawn
is
is head of security in this episode. He is what's the name of their race?
Oh shoot.
Jeez.
I'm about to say Darmok, but that's wrong.
That's absolutely wrong. But like Tendi, he's the first he's the first, God, I'm trying to remember. Temerian.
Thank you. There we go. Yes, Tamarian is right.
He's the first Temerian in Starfleet. And he has learned to speak outside of the Temerian way. If people remember Darmok and Jalad and how the Temerians in that speak only in metaphor.
Yep.
Yeah. Storytelling sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
We did an episode on that in
We did.
this podcast, if you want to go listen to it.
Yeah.
So interestingly, I wonder if Kayshawn goes home ever and he starts to talk to his people. They're like, "Oh, this like makes more sense the way you're doing it," and they start to lose that as a people.
He's the catalyst to like.
It's like,
Fix
man,
the
it's
insanity
way
of their
easier
culture.
to fix our ship. Yeah, when you just say, "Grab that."
We talked about that during our
Yeah, we still
discussion.
did.
It's like,
But now,
what words do you use to like engineering? Like, how do you engineer by metaphor?
Well, so that's the like, and how do you captain by metaphor, right? Like, if you're on a Federation starship, we did this discussion. People should go listen to it. But if you're on a
just
Federation,
go listen to it. Yeah.
Federation starship, you yell shields. You just yell shields, and someone knows. Oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. But like, you'd have to be like, JJ, his shield in front.
Right. It's like, meanwhile, we were shot 7 times.
By the time I got it, said his shield,
Yeah.
So Kayshawn has learned to sometimes not speak in metaphor, but other times he does. And when he does, it's almost always ones that we've heard from the Darmok episode.
Yes. And it used to great comedic effect most of the times. And
yes.
it, very good.
Yeah.
And So this episode is like they find this collector, or the collector dies. Is that what happens?
A collectors guild person has died, and the collectors guild wants them to clear all the weapons out of the ship.
Right, the dangerous stuff, supposedly, right?
Right. But one of the collectors guild people tries to steal stuff from the collection that is not marked for removal by the Federation, and sets off booby traps throughout the ship, which then cause Mariner Manhaver, the what's his name? It's Evan, I think it is.
The other yellow shirted security guy, right?
Yeah, I don't know really what his. I guess he's security, but he tries to show up and like take Boimler's place.
Right.
Jet. His name is Jet.
Jet.
Yeah. And Tendi and Rutherford all get this job with Kayshawn, who is immediately turned into a plush doll.
Yep.
By some technology somewhere, and they can't get along. But I think the main story in this one that I actually really like is Boimler's story on the Titan, where you get to meet some of the other Titan crew that are all like Riker roadies or whatever.
Yeah. All the like the bridge crew on the Titan are all just people like fawning over Riker, basically.
And they just are like, they've gotten so adrenaline junkie that they can't not try to fight their way out of a scenario when they should have just talked their way out.
Yep.
You know, like Riker would fight his way out. Yeah, let's do it. And it's Boimler. Boimler gets stuck
like
in the middle of that.
The meeting room on the Titan. Is that this episode where they're they're in the meeting room and they're like Boimler is frantically taking notes, like trying to keep up with all the like references to battles and stuff that they've done.
Yeah. Yep. Remember when we did this? And he's like writing stuff down. He's like, you don't need to write that down.
And then he writes it down.
He writes down. You don't need to write that down. Yeah. Pretty good. So Boimler gives a great speech where they all realize they got into Starfleet to like study botany and all these other things instead of just shooting aliens. And then saves them all and accidentally gets transporter cloned.
Yes.
Much like Riker did. And so now we have William Boimler and Brad Boimler.
Yes.
And
the greatest part of it is, you know, Riker is now is talking to both of them, right? And is like,
yes,
but we can't keep both of you on the Titan. And
Starfleet prevents us from keeping both of you on the Titan because this has happened so many times. There's now a regulation against it.
Yeah. And like Riker's like, I would love to keep both of you because you're both so great.
I love that when they beam him up and they figure out it's a clone, he goes, transporter clone, classic. It's like only Riker could make me laugh with that line.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, classic. And he's like, oh my god. And then you know the transporter clone, and so then you know it's like, well, I'm gonna need to volunteer one of you to go back to the Cerritos.
You guys need to decide.
And so then you know they both look at each other, like you know do the thing where like, oh, we're both gonna say
the knowing
me
glance,
or whatever.
Right?
Yep. And then only Brad Boimler steps forward, and he's like, wait, what? I thought we were both gonna do it. And he's like, no, man, I'm glad you did this. Great, goodbye.
See you later. I want to serve on the Titan.
Yeah, and then you see like as Brad is leaving, William Boimler is in there like chatting with Riker with his leg up on the seat and
like getting cocktails.
Yep. Yeah.
They're talking about music. It's pretty funny. The next one is we'll always have Tom Paris, which is another
just
great
so
one.
Good.
Yeah. This is where Shax returns and where they tell you the thesis of the show again, and they kind of get back to it, which is we're not going to follow the bridge crew every minute of every day. You're not going to know everything that happens on the ship. You're only going to know what our characters know. And so they keep trying to ask Shax how he comes back.
It's just like what is it? It's what's the engineering officer?
Oh, Rutherford?
Rutherford. Thank you. Oh god, I don't know why my brain.
There's a lot of characters. I mean, they do a good job saying the name, unlike freaking Discovery, where you're like, what is this person's name? I've never heard it ever. Please. They do a good job saying the names, but they run through they have a large crew that they use on
Mhm.
this ship because it's just voice acting.
Right.
And they introduce new characters every episode, so it's just
Yeah,
tough to keep.
that's the part that I keep like getting confused. Like, if you're gonna ask me to name any of the new characters they introduce in this, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
But for
especially like
sure,
the red shirts crew and all that. They all have names, you know.
oh yeah, yeah. Couldn't even tell you a single member of the Red Shirts crew.
Yeah,
But here we have Rutherford is like working up the courage. You know, they discuss like, oh, you're not supposed to ask what happens and when they come back or whatever. And all the other lower deck guys like Mariner
yeah.
and
Don't
Tendi
ask,
and
man.
Boimler all just like, why would you ask? Who cares? It's just something dumb. It's probably a
It happens
transporter
all the
clone or
time.
whatever. Who cares? It happens all the time. They always come back to life. No big deal. And and Rutherford's like, no, I have to know science. And he's like working up the courage to ask Shax, and then like someone else, one of the other engineers,
No, he doesn't even ask.
Blurts it out.
He's like, "Hey, it's Shax. Aren't you dead?"
It's like the look on Shax's face. It's just
He
like
starts
"Oh,
crying.
no, I'm crushed.
And the engineering guy, they're like whispering in the corner about the visions he's having and all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Pretty great. Eventually, Rutherford corners him in the turbo lift and gets his answer. And the answer from Shax is, "We don't want you to ask, and we don't tell you because it's terrifying to know. Have you heard about the Black Mountain?"
He starts on like some Cthulhu like cosmic horror stuff where it's like, the Yellow King and the deep madness of space and all that
pretty
stuff.
good. You have to fight your way past the gates of hell.
Yeah.
It's good. This episode is also the one where Boimler has to fight the ship, which is pretty funny. Because he won't get help from anyone. And the Tendi and Mariner mission, which you finally learn that Tendi's first name is Divana. I think maybe we heard that one time.
Right.
And that she has a cousin named Da'ani. And that she and Mariner aren't very good friends, actually.
It was fun because I had been thinking during last season that they don't often pair the two female characters and the two male characters together, and in fact they didn't even do that here, right? It's not like Rutherford and Boimler were together.
Yeah.
It was Mariner and Tendi, who I didn't like. Thinking back to the first season, I don't think there had been an episode where it was the two of them together. So it makes sense that Tendi is pissed that like Mariner doesn't actually know her very well because they never spend any time together in the show.
Yeah.
And like, maybe off camera or whatever. But
I was worried when this episode started and that was the thing, that it was going to be a bad attempt to like make sure the show passes the Bechdel test. And it actually ended up being kind of a commentary about like making sure that female characters have something to do,
right.
Especially when she gets onto Orion and they're screaming at each other about basically like meta storytelling.
Yep. Yeah, it ended up being really good. You learn that like what was Tendi's pirate name.
Oh yeah. It's pretty good.
And she's like, "Don't tell anyone this. It's really embarrassing."
What was it? The White Star. What was it?
The Queen of White
Queen of White
Fire
or Stars or something.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't remember. It was really good though. I think it was the Queen of the White Stars or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And she's just like, "Shut up and do this for me." It's like bossing her cousin or whoever it is around. Oh, so good.
She kicks him, like punches him in the stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. She's just like, "Shut up and do this." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Sorry."
Yeah. Pretty good.
Also, Tom Paris is in the actual show for like, 30 seconds.
And I think it's the actual Tom Paris, right?
Yes. Yeah. The Boimler holding around that plate of Tom Paris the entire time.
Uses the plate to like bridge an arcing gap. He grabs a plate while it's like super heated. It's pretty good. Yep. I'm glad. See, that's like the other thing that people that are not into Star Trek, I don't think will remember, but like there was a huge plate thing for a long time with Star Trek.
Well, see,
Like,
okay, but
I
was it
even
just a
had Star
thing?
Trek plates.
Oh, interesting. I definitely never did. But
People
also,
gave
like,
me. I didn't buy them. People gave them to me, but
yeah, I think it was just like a thing for a long time. I think they did it with everything.
I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised if they did it with everything. But like, it was a big thing for Star Trek for a long time. I mean, I think they still do it actually.
But of course, once you start collecting something, you can't stop, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's the first time that we found out her name is Devana, but well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know that you dude. I don't know why my computer makes noise every time I try to search something. It's really annoying. I wish I could turn that off. Somebody tell me how to turn that off.
What noise? Where are you clicking?
Like if like Command F on a page because I want to try and remember her Orion Syndicate name because it was really funny at the time, but now I can't remember it because that was 3 episodes ago.
Yeah.
But it was like
I
Queen
don't.
of the White Stars, I think it was. But anyway, anytime I like Command F and it doesn't find it, it goes bling. I'm like, I don't need to know. It got a little red line. It shows me it's not there. Anyway, Mugato, Gutumbo. How many different names did they come with for Mugatos, Mugutus,
Dude, like
Gumatos?
70, I think. And it's just like
The
they pronounce
Shax
the same
alone
thing
says 4
different
of
ways.
them.
Yeah.
So denobulins right off the bat, I loved that little reference of like, hey, look, denobulins are around. You haven't seen them since Enterprise, but they're still here.
Yeah. Because, like, of course they would be, right?
Yep. This episode's great because Mariner starts a rumor that she's a Section 31 operative.
So good. The bartender is like the most gullible person on the ship, apparently.
I love by the end when they're like, if you don't want to be a bartender, don't work in the bar.
Yeah. It's the one guy who's like still waiting on that drink or whatever that he
Please
was
give
missing at
me
the
my
beginning.
drink. So she uses the bartender to start a Section 31 rumor about herself, which send Boimler and Rutherford over the edge.
Right.
But by
Like,
the end, they figure it out that she's not, or at least they assume she's not by the end. And using their skills as ultra game nerds, which they show them playing a game earlier.
the game is called Diplomacy or something. No, it's not Diplomacy. What is it called? You see the shot of the box for a second.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it's like Diplomacy or Negotiations or something, and the like their game playing or whatever, like they're playing at the table, in the lounge, and the conclusion of the game is they both like shake hands on a deal and are like, I'm slightly disappointed. That's how it's like, yay, that's how we know we won. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's nobody's happy. Diplomath is the name of it.
Diplomath.
I
Thank
found
you.
a
I knew
picture of the box.
it was Diplo something, and I
It
thought
was
it was yeah.
Diplomath because you have to like they have to present charts and like they have to put all these squares onto squares so that they're allowed to present other mathematics and stuff like that. So
Right,
it's
yep.
it's pretty funny little like reference to board gaming in general, I think, and they use that at the end to convince Ferengi Mugato horn traders that they should instead be conservationists because they'll make 150% more money.
And the Ferengi are like,
Hard to argue with that.
these charts check out. He's right. We make more money doing this. We're conservationists now.
Pretty good.
So good. It like me, like Mariner, and is like standing there and is like, oh my god.
They're gonna do it. They're gonna negotiate us out of here using their brains. Oh no.
Yep.
Shax is like, what's going on?
Yeah, Shax is like, I get why.
Is this the like first explicit sex that we have seen in this show? Because those Mugatu just like,
do you see it?
I mean, as much as you can see in a cartoon with apes, I think.
And that isn't rated like something bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't remember there being like explicit boning in any of the other
Yeah,
parts
this one's.
of this show.
I mean, this one has the whole like the other Mugatu shows up and starts rubbing its horn and like.
Oh, it's like very.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very strange. It's very strange to spend a whole episode watching some stuff that was in the original series. Uh, an animal that got phasered twice, like
Yeah, basically.
and
Yeah,
now we're getting a
yeah.
whole episode of it, and like,
But like, this is why part of why I love the show is they go back and pick that random stuff. They're like, oh, this random creature got phasered by Kirk on this episode of the original series, and we never talked
twice.
about it again. We're gonna go back and do one of these. I'm
Yep,
all about these guys.
yep. It's great. I mean, yeah, it's great. Not from the original series. Just I think because they wanted to have Richard Kind voice somebody in this show, we get duplers,
Yes.
which duplicate when they're humiliated and unduplicate when they're angry.
Yeah. You don't know the second part though.
No.
It's just until the very end. But
Yes.
the whole conceit is that they're trying to keep this dupler diplomat happy because they duplicate when they get embarrassed, and so they're just constantly like praising him and telling
I
him
like
how
at the
great
beginning
he
when
is
he
and being
drops
so
his
nice.
fork. He drops his fork and Ransom throws his fork over his shoulder.
It's like one of those like, oh no, I have to like make him feel at home. Throws my fork.
Yeah, pretty good.
That whole episode is really, really good. There's also the second plot of besides trying to contain the like exponentially duplicating duplers, is Mariner and Boimler are going to go to this like secret Starfleet party as Boimler's transporter clone.
For Luna class and above.
Right.
So California class people are not allowed to go.
Right.
Which to me is like, really? Isn't it just a captain's party for like all the captains?
I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good conceit and it's funny. And apparently Constellation class was not invited because Kirk and Spock couldn't get into the party either.
Right. You get the scene at the washout bar or whatever, and like Kirk and Spock are
I mean, this is an episode a lot. This is a character development episode. Not actually, other than the huge car chase where they destroy the entire space station. Not a lot actually really happens in this one. Tendi and Rutherford have their character development problems. Mariner and Boimler have their character development. The captain has a little bit of character development.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. It's really not a whole lot.
But it's a great episode, man.
I think it's great. I just because it's character development doesn't mean it's not good. I just think that like if you're going through the plot, there's not much to say.
Yeah. I really liked the Dupler one. One of my favorite ones from this season,
I think
thus far, I guess.
Yeah, if I had to like pick my favorite from the season so far, I think the Mugato one just made me laugh relatively regularly.
It was extremely
because
funny.
it was just very Shax is back. They're making a lot of jokes. Duplers was the reason I liked this show. Is because I may not have laughed out loud like I did. I think when Kayshawn during the spy one made some jokes, and I laughed like literally out loud, and my spouse stared at me like I was crazy because it was like inside Star Trek jokes.
There was oh my god, we'll talk about it in a second when we get to the next one. There's so many fun
that's one reason I love the shows, because I can see stuff and laugh out loud, like literally out loud. Mugatu was another one that does that, but the real reason to love, I think, Lower Decks is because of episodes like Dupler, where you just smile the whole time.
I was just going to say, I believe I was smiling the entire time, and it gave me the feeling like when I came back to watch. So I watched like the last 3 or 4 episodes over the course of like a week or 2 weeks here because I'd fallen way behind. I would open up the app and be like, oh, this is great. I have a big smile on my face. I get to watch some Lower Decks. All right. I just had like this great feeling going in and watching them because I knew it was going to be fun. I knew I was going to have a good time.
Yeah. And even an episode that they decide is this type of episode ends up making you smile the whole time. That's all. That's what I was saying. So, yeah, so Boimler and Mariner put their initials into the bar top that Kirk and Spock did, and Boimler is now forever Mariner's number one.
Yep. The captain said, "I was here. I saw it."
I was here. I saw it. Your name came second. It's like, oh man,
Oh my god!
pretty good. So the last one that is out now, Spy
As of
Humongous,
as of this
as
recording,
of this recording, yeah, where the pack leads attempt to trick who they think is, oh my gosh, Windows
Captain
Janeway.
Janeway.
Yeah, they think it's, so the first time we see the pack leads, they think they've cornered the Enterprise, and then when Riker shows
It's
up,
to be clear, they think they've cornered the Enterprise. It's the Cerritos.
yeah, and then the Riker shows up in the Titan. They think that's the Enterprise, and now they think that this is the Voyager, and they've gotten Janeway.
Yep.
It's pretty good. Um,
Although I guess in the timeline, would Janeway be an admiral already? Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. Who cares? It's
she would have returned, so yeah, she might be an admiral by now. Yeah.
anyway uh, and so the pack leads. And so the entire time is Captain Freeman attempting to negotiate the ceasefire. And just like constantly being told by whomever is in charge that they need to find the person with the bigger hat.
Bigger helmet. Yeah, my helmet's not big enough for that. It's like,
I can't make that decision. My helmet's not big enough.
Okay.
She's just like, you can see like her, Freeman and Ransom are just both down there being like,
But the Packleds are pretending to be mad because a Packled has quote unquote requested asylum aboard their ship, but is very clearly a spy.
Oh yeah, it's just like not even.
Can I see the transporter room? Can I see the warp core? Give me your codes.
Yeah. And was it the Doctor and Ransom are leading the?
No, it's Kayshawn. It's Kayshawn and
right.
the
It's
Doctor.
Kayshawn and Ransom.
Yeah, Kayshawn and Ransom are leading the Doctor, are leading the Packlet around, making some very good jokes about the Tal Shiar and other things of that nature.
We're not exactly dealing with the Tal Shiar here, if you know what I mean. They take him to the gift shop.
Yeah. He accidentally airlocks himself.
Yeah, they like lose him at one point, and they're like searching all around frantically, and we come back to them later, and you just see them like,
gosh,
he's just floating out the window.
Yeah,
they have to like take him to sick bay and revive him.
Pretty good.
You hear later at the end, Shax's telling one of the lower deckers to go clean up airlock, whatever. Something unspeakable was done in there.
That guy gets what he deserved. It also is the trash day episode.
Yes.
Where
anomaly cleanup detail or something.
Yeah, has to happen. And Tendi volunteers the lower decks crew to clean it up, which Boimler's very excited about. But he gets talked into joining the quote unquote red shirts.
Great name.
who have dedicated themselves to getting promoted.
Right. They're like, hey, we have an opening because one of our friends in this group got promoted. You want in, Boimler?
And he's like, yeah. Turns out they only want him in the group so they can hear everything they can ever know about Riker.
Oh.
What would Riker do? What would Riker do? What would Riker do? How would Riker do this? They give him a makeover.
Yeah, they give him a makeover, and then they like go practice inspirational speeches.
Yeah, not in the holiday. Oh well, maybe in a holiday
on the stage.
But they do the stage from Enterprise
from
TNG. Yeah, I thought that was really funny. And then when he pictures himself on the bridge, it's the Enterprise D.
Yep, it is. It's so good. That whole scene is like one of my favorite parts of this episode. Boimler is just like, he starts bringing himself back. He's like, what would Riker say? And he's like, he literally gives a Riker speech.
Yep. Oh man, good. It's so good. And so the Pagled storyline goes on. Eventually Tendi gets not into the mood that she was in before. She gets upset about cleanup day and turns into a giant scorpion.
Yeah, because anomaly.
Yeah, because anomaly. After all the other anomaly jokes, there are some very good ones, like the screaming.
Yes.
What was it? The screaming slug.
Yep.
And the nanobots from Discovery, and like a lot of good stuff in there in the anomaly cleanup stuff. she turns into a scorpion. Boimler has to choose between standing there and giving a speech and actually helping.
And the great part is that, like, all these guys talking about like how to do leadership and how to all this stuff, and then something actually happens where they need to do something. One of them steps up to give the inspirational speech, and like you can see all the crew members' eyes glaze over. They're like, "Oh wow!" And then the second one steps up to give a speech,
They
and the
all
third one,
start talking over each
and then
other.
everyone's like, "What the hell?"
They're all talking over each other with their own speeches while Boimler just runs in, and he realizes that it's the cube, and so he like immediately knows how to solve the problem to try and make Tendi laugh. He just starts smashing food all over himself,
Yeah, he
which
just,
the
like
red shirts think is despicable.
starts a physical comedy routine
Yeah.
by getting all of the transporters to give him like hilarious food items that he slips on and falls or whatever.
I finally noticed that they had been building to this joke to this day. Have you noticed that whenever they give orders to the replicator, they always say what temperature they want?
They had been saying that.
Yeah, but they've gotten more and more specific. And so while he's giving orders for things, he at one point he's like um he's ordering the birthday cake. He says birthday cake, candles lit, various temperatures. And so like he keeps, as he's giving orders through this scene, he keeps giving the heat things, but like way more specific. It's really funny that they've been building this joke up to be part of this scene where he orders tons of food all at the same time and eventually gets the replicator to just spew out a giant pile of food onto him.
Which causes Tendy's scorpion
Emotional armor, they
emotional
call
armor,
it. Yeah.
right, to break down, and so she's back.
She's
Saves
no
the day.
longer a scorpion, which gets Ransom to praise Boimler in front of the red shirts, which breaks up the red shirts.
Yes, so good.
Yeah, pretty good. They find two things at the end of this that are really funny. One, they find the thing that allows them to broadcast their voice to any planet in the galaxy.
I was laughing so hard.
So they use it to torture Armus, the sludge that killed
The skin of evil.
the skin of evil. Yeah, the one that killed Tasha Yar.
We're touching your stuff.
Oh, where are I am? Oh man, this is my domain. A domain of junk. Pretty good. And then the other one is, I don't know if you heard it, but so the pack-led spy goes back, and they're like, okay, look, we returned him to you, and they're like, oh, we tricked you. I'm so good, I didn't even give away our plan. Oh, really? What plan didn't you give away? And they say that they're gonna send Vitruvian ore to Earth. They're gonna smuggle it into Earth and blow up Earth. They talked about Vitruvian ore in the second episode of this season. They found it in the collector's ship.
Oh,
So I don't know if that's a Vitruvian. I don't remember Vitruvian ore from Star Trek.
yeah. It's not. I don't have a memory of that. I mean,
Being a thing.
the Vitruvian Man is a like reference to Leonardo da Vinci's work or painting or whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I don't recall that as a space thing from Star Trek.
I don't either. I mean,
knows?
Vitruvian.
Maybe
They've used
they'll-
Vitruvian Man in Enterprise.
It was in the opening to Enterprise for sure.
Yeah, but I don't
Maybe even the opening to Discovery too.
know. I don't know if it's even spelled the same. You know.
Who knows? Maybe it's something that will show up later in the Lower Decks season. We're not done yet.
Maybe it's not Vitruvian. Maybe it's something else. Maybe I'm remembering the wrong name. I'll look it up. Veruvian.
Yeah.
There we go. Trekcore.com to the rescue. Veruvian ore.
Okay.
I remember. My head said Vitruvian because that's a word that I know. Veruvian, I don't remember at all.
Don't remember Veruvian either. So it's okay.
Yeah.
This was also a oh, and the kicker at the end is the like auxiliary bridge job or whatever, the job that the red shirts had been like
Oh yeah, when
trying to get.
Captain Freeman gives him the bridge, the red shirt guy that was like, "I want to be the stand-in captain between shifts or whatever," and Ransom's like, "Yeah, sure," and you see Freeman leave the bridge.
And he's like, he goes to sit in the chair, and his eyes are all wide, and it's about 4
His
seconds, and then
butt hits
Shax
the
walks in.
chair.
And Shax walks in. Next duty. All right, get off the chair. What are you doing? Go clean up the airlock.
Yeah, go clean up the airlock. That Pac-Led did something nasty in there, which should have been blown out into space, in theory. But
who knows, man?
Yeah.
Lower Decks is great.
I think it is. I think it's really good. You know what? I'm going to shout out because they have saved some info before. Trekcore.com has recaps of the episodes. They put at the bottom of the recaps tributes and connections and observations.
Oh, I'm going to go look at this right now because that's
they don't catch them all. So sometimes like characters will say side stuff. Like I think Kayshawn made some jokes about Star Trek episodes in this one that they don't have in here, but they do catch a good amount of them.
No one is perfect because there's so many.
Well, and how many times are you gonna watch an episode to catch every single one? It's not it's not feasible, especially for, I would assume, a fan made thing. Anyway, things that I forgot are in these canon connections. Like Rumdar says he wants to see the Crimson Force Field, and so I had to look, and this is why I'm shouting that up. I had to look that up when we were watching it, and it's a reference to Enterprise. I think it's connection to Enterprise. I don't remember. Oh, it's connection to.
It sounds like that. I mean, Trek Core is saying that it's a fictional weapon.
No, yeah, it's not a weapon. In TNG, they create like LaForge creates like a light show with some parts of the ship. Anyway, stuff like that like maybe is a side thing that this show picks up on. Like they have all the writers are sitting there with writers' assistants going back and watching every Pac-Led thing ever. And writing it all down and making jokes about it. And so sometimes they're hard to remember, and Trek Core usually finds them. So if you miss one or two or don't know what they're talking about, like I missed a couple for sure. They're on there in the bottom of the episode recaps. So you don't need to read the recap. You just go to the end of the document.
I'm going to go to this website more now because they have a lot of good stuff here. So.
Yeah, they really do. So free shout out to them. Well, speaking of 55 years at the beginning of this podcast, Star Trek Day was a celebration of 55 years of Star Trek. That happened. That was a real thing that occurred. And a lot of celebrities showed up to talk Star Trek, even though it wasn't like a Star Trek Las Vegas kind of deal.
Yeah, they did.
They did have a lot to promote, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a organized thing, clearly, to promote the various Star Trek universe things. They did show they called it a mid-season trailer for Lower Decks, but there's nothing to see there. We just watched Lower Decks, people. That's all you need to do. Just keep doing that.
Yeah, don't watch Lower Decks trailers. Wait for the jokes to be in the show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Don't watch the trailer. Just go watch the show. There's no need to see a trailer for it. They're going to make more episodes. Just watch them.
They're already recording. They're recording season 3. They said already.
Awesome.
Voice actors are already working on season 3.
That show deserves to be renewed for 50 more seasons, as far as I'm concerned. So
at this pace, I would think it could last a good 7 seasons for sure. Because if it's only 10 episodes each year, and one big story thing happens each year. Like Boimler went to the Titan at the end of the first season, right? So something big will happen at the end of this season for the characters to shift them a little bit. But they can't shift it too much because they're still going to be calling it Lower Decks. So it's not like these guys are going to be promoted to the bridge.
And the show is good because they're not on the bridge, right? Like they've done a good job of making it about the other stuff that happens in Starfleet, and
they have a good bridge crew. You don't want to delete a good bridge crew.
Yeah. So nothing to really say about that. So we won't. But they did show a trailer for a new show coming out called Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah, that's the Janeway show.
Yes. And
Well,
here is
supposedly it's Janeway and a lot of aliens.
yes.
Okay. So you're linking the thing. Okay, so we'll watch the trailers now. We may or may not cut out watching the trailers, but we'll watch and react to the trailers here, I think.
Yes.
Okay. I'm clicking play.
There's like
Whoa, that's loud. Are you watching it as well?
I'm watching.
No. There's no purpose here.
I wish I could start a video with volume down.
The more important
I know.
question,
Thanks, YouTube.
how do we get it out?
Okay, so we got a bunch of aliens
Always wanted to see the stars.
that I've never seen before. And a
Yes.
squid-looking guy. And they said there's a ship.
Starfleet, welcome aboard.
Here's animated Janeway.
What is that?
So it's not actually Janeway. It's some sort of hologram. Okay.
Seems to be.
Is this a Voyager? It looks like a Voyager.
Disabling gravity.
Okay.
Look, maybe it's small. I can't tell how big that ship is.
This ought to be
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
The bridge looks huge.
It appears we are fighting now.
No one shall escape.
This doesn't look like a kid's show.
Get me my ship.
And, you know, in the vein of Avatar: The Last Bender, Airbender, maybe.
Fire the pew 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 button.
I don't see a pew 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 button.
Just hit them all until it goes pew pew.
I say that, and then they talk about a pew pew button.
Yeah.
I've seen my share of wayward crews, and I can tell you this: you've got potential.
Okay, she's definitely some sort of hologram.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
October. Well, I'd watch. I will watch that to try it out.
Yeah. I'm still on the fence.
I'll try
I
it
don't know.
for you, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm interested in. I don't think I can show the kids Lower Decks. They're not going to be interested in that.
No.
But this
No.
this in a year or two might be age appropriate. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe in a year or two for sure. It's trying to do the young teen.
It definitely seems like an almost teen show. It looks like a kid, like 10-year-olds watching shows about teen. Like, you know, like when
Right,
we were
right.
kids and we watched Static Shock.
Yeah. I don't know
Or-
about that exact example,
or-
but yes,
Or
the idea is
Batman
correct.
Beyond, or
Right.
you know, like, oh, I'm gonna watch a cartoon about a kid that's older than me doing stuff.
Right. The protagonists are teens of a slightly older than the age of the person in theory watching this.
Yeah, but it does look like it's got some fair amount of what my younger one would call it's scary going
Because
on
there's-
with some bad guys and a bunch of large
explosions and-
explosions and machines and things like that. So we'll see
Yeah.
what age group that's for. But it doesn't look. Initially, when I
doesn't-
saw the character poster for this, I was like, "Uh-oh," but that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it doesn't look terrible. I don't know what to say about it because again, this trailer is a minute and a half or whatever. It basically
Yeah.
shows nothing.
Well, it shows you that it's not It's not going to be about Starfleet entirely. I want to know what the name of the ship
I
is.
mean, it basically doesn't look like it's going to be about Starfleet at all. If this is the crew that we're talking about here.
Yeah. I mean, Janeway's clearly a hologram.
Seems that way anyway.
Yeah.
Also appears to be the only human we've seen in this, so maybe like this is just some
yeah.
weird
So
corner of the galaxy. Where
was
there
that
isn't
like
the
some sort of
Federation.
mining colony they were escaping? I couldn't quite tell.
Seemed to be maybe
Okay.
hard to say exactly, but yeah, it looked like some kind of prison / mining colony / place where you do kids.
She is Captain Janeway, an emergency training hologram.
Okay, perfect.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe the name of the ship is Prodigy. That would be good.
that would make sense.
I would hope that that's true because Prodigy's a weird name for a show if it's not.
Yeah.
I can see a number. NCC 76884. Oh,
That's not one of
NX.
the
It's an NX. It's not an NCC.
Okay, so that means it's like closer to the Enterprise E, right?
No.
E?
An NX would be a first of a model,
Okay.
right? So like the Defiance original designation is an NX number, and then it becomes an NCC when it becomes the Sao Paulo.
Right.
So
Okay.
this is the first
Maybe
model.
this was a prototype Prodigy class or whatever.
Yeah. Cool. NX 76884. That's all I got for you so far. Probably named the Prodigy. Would be my
Who can
guess.
say? We'll
Cool.
find out
All right.
in October when
October.
this comes out.
Yeah. So now we know what spans the gap, because I was very curious what was going to span the gap between Lower Decks ending and Picard showing up in February.
Well, Andrew, let me show you what else is spanning the gap. We've got Star Trek Discovery Season 4.
No. Already?
Go ahead and watch this trailer.
Okay. I would love to turn this down before it starts. I apologize. Oh, it is down now. Good.
None of us are.
Okay. I hate that when they do. Can we pause for a second? I'm at 6 seconds. I'm going to pause.
Okay.
I hate that. Don't do that. Don't stop doing this. I hate the trailers do this. Don't put
Every single one of these trailers does this.
4 seconds. I don't think Prodigy did it, but
It did.
okay. Don't put then I hate that too. Don't put 4 seconds of what I'm going to watch anyway before the thing.
Yep. All of these do this.
I don't know why this became a thing. Some marketing person somewhere said that this was a good idea, and it's not. Don't do it. I'm already interested. I'm clicking on the trailer anyway.
It's a YouTube algorithm thing, I bet.
Ugh. Okay, I'm
It's
clicking
terrible.
play at 6 seconds.
We're all living in uncertainty. Even for a crew. as
That screen
familiar
said
with
coming
this
2021, by the way.
Okay.
The stress is taking its toll.
The stress is taking its toll.
But we are
and she's
not in
walking
this alone.
slowly in some sort of
like
new
ma-
spacesuit.
None of us are.
Mass Effect armor is what it looks
Massive.
like.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
5 light years across.
What's
That's
5?
the size of the gravitational anomaly.
Oh, the
gravitational
universe
anomaly.
is going to end again. Good.
Go anywhere.
Oh, look at these. Oh, they changed the uniforms, JJ.
Warning at
Yes,
all.
Andrew. That was what we were going to talk about here in a second.
They changed the uniforms because we said they looked like dog.
Non-Federation. This anomaly threatens us equally.
Why?
We'll figure it out together.
Indeed, we are more than allies.
Does Discovery always have to save the universe?
Make no
Yes,
mistake,
apparently.
You are in charge.
She has faith in me.
I don't.
We are facing
In
something
face of
we
the
don't
unknown.
understand.
Oh, isn't it always the unknown in
Something
Star
that can
Trek?
tear us all apart.
Oh, cool. Different
One way to confront the
Kelpians.
unknown.
Yeah.
Into that. Grudge is back.
Together.
Okay.
So this says new season coming 2021.
2021. So it's going to be after Prodigy then.
They clarify that it comes in November. It's not
Oh,
in the
so it'll
trailer, but
overlap Prodigy.
part of the Star Trek Day panel discussions said November.
Okay.
There is your bridge to later.
Yeah. Whew, buddy. I can only take so much between this
I'm
and
with you, man.
Picard of every single show being about the end of the universe.
I'm with you, man.
I know Strange New Worlds is not that, at least so it's been billed.
Sadly, they don't clarify anything about Strange New Worlds here. There was a trailer for Strange
just-
New Worlds.
Interesting. They just finished filming it, so they should have something. Oh,
Uh,
there's a trailer. Look at his hair. He did his hair different.
Here's a trailer. Before you hit play on this, though,
Okay.
just know they don't talk about the show at all. Literally, this whole trailer is like, here is the cast.
Oh.
That's all this trailer does.
Okay.
But we didn't know the cast before, and now we do. So that's something.
So we're gonna meet some cast here for Strange New Worlds. Do we have anything to say about Discovery before I click play on this? Other than
I
like,
mean,
oh boy,
Unless you want to talk about the uniforms, I have nothing else to say about that trailer.
look, the uniforms, the gray ones, especially at the end of last season. I'm gonna use. I'm gonna
They're
stop
bad.
the word. They're dog s. Dog.
They're bad.
S. These
They're
look similar, but that they've been retailored and recolored to exactly what we'd said they should be.
Right. The thing we'd said was that the colors were wrong and they should invert them, and they did.
All the colors were wrong. All the colors were dull, and they should have had the uniforms be the classic ones, but oh man. And so we said all that at the end of last season, and it magically appeared. Gee.
Who could say why we thought that?
Who could say that when anyone saw it on the screen, everyone's reaction was, these are crud?
No, it's
You had to have known as an actor putting that on. You really like Shaniqua should have walked into the trailers after that and been like, I'm not wearing this again next season. Change it.
Maybe they did. You can hope, right? Like maybe
Yeah.
that was what the actors collectively went on a strike. It was
They
like,
were
look,
terrible.
fix the dang
They were so
colors.
terrible. All right.
So who knows, man? I don't know. That teaser is like really short.
Yeah. Well, and she's Mass
Discovery
Effect walking in half of it, so who knows?
Discovery is like I don't know.
I'm on a fence about Discovery. We'll see. All right, let's
I'm
click
with you there.
play on this cast. Clicking play now. Cast of Star Trek. The Enterprise crew is back. Oh no, how long is this? Oh, it's only
It's
a
only
minute. Okay.
like 2 minutes.
He looks different in that shot than he did. Okay, so Ethan Peck, Anson Mount, Spock, Pike.
I'm Rebecca Romaine, and I play Una, also known as.
Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Are we pausing? What?
I'm pausing at 26 seconds because Rebecca Romaine's character number 1 has a name.
Yeah.
It's actually Una.
That was not. That wasn't a joke, man. When
I
they said
thought it was
before.
I thought it was a joke at the end because Una means one.
Right. That was the whole idea. Is that her name? They called her number 1 because her name means one.
That's so crazy. Okay.
But that's actually her name.
Well, never mind. Una Chun Rai. She has a last name too, which means she's not an android, I guess.
Chin Riley, yeah.
I'm
I guess.
I'm hitting play.
Yeah.
Oh, she's the. Whoa. Okay, got it. She's from the original series.
Wait, you didn't recognize that part either? I knew that already.
I didn't recognize it at all because that was pulled out of the pilot. That's pilot stuff that was pulled out of the main series. It was not in the main series. Who's this person?
And honored to say that I will be playing Cadet Nyota Uhura.
It's Uhura.
I am
Oh,
stepping into this
cool. You're ahead of me by 2 seconds. Uhura.
I'm delighted to announce that I will be playing Nurse Christine Chapel. I feel extremely honored.
Oh, Nurse Chapel.
Nurse
Wonderful.
Chapel, yep.
I will be playing Dr. Mbenga. I'm ecstatic.
Oh, cool.
And Dr. Mbenga.
Dr.
Yeah.
Mbenga's back too.
Bruce Horak, and I'm thrilled to announce that I will be playing the character of Hammer. I'm welling up with emotion as I say it.
And Dorian.
My name is Christina Chong, and I play Laan Noonien Singh. I am super excited to become a part of this amazing.
Whoa, sing?
diverse universe.
Yeah, Noonien Singh. Yep.
Whoa.
Super excited to announce that I will be playing Lieutenant Erica Ortega.
So, you know.
Star Trek.
Yeah, that means some stuff.
Finally be able to say that.
Noonan's
The cast
mom,
we
maybe?
were able to pull together for this. It's exactly the kind
No,
of
can't
movie
be.
hoped you'd end
Wife?
up on a high wire.
Who knows, man?
Okay. I'm into this. I'm into this.
And the last one here. Erica Ortega.
Yeah. I'm okay. I've completed this. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
The character names alone get me excited.
Yeah, and they show a little logo here at the end, which I think is good.
Yeah. The Strange New Worlds
I'm-
logo looks like the original series logo. That's good.
Yeah. I'm tentatively excited for this.
Yeah, this looks good. This looks like they put some thought into character names.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very curious how we're gonna have a Noonan Singh.
I mean, I'm sure that it was just a name at some point, you know, before the.
Yeah,
the
but
one guy
I mean, they've got to be
invented all the
related
androids.
somehow.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, curious.
The timeline's very weird, and one of those guys lived a super long time, so it's hard to know.
Oh, that would be his like great granddaughter then, or something like that.
It could be, potentially.
right? Because he would have been shot into space before Space Seed happened by 100-something years
Yeah.
on the Botany Bay. So that's got to be like his granddaughter, who will then have to be removed from the ship before Botany Bay happens.
Well, but remember, this is Pike, so it would have to be before that anyway, right? Because Botany Bay is under Kirk.
I know, but it means that like some of these characters don't make it past Pike's tenure.
You know, Pike leaves and they go with him or something, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, Pike leaves, quote unquote.
Yeah, who knows what happens to Pike? I don't know.
I mean, Pike knows what happens
Spoilers,
to Pike.
Andrew.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Well, I shouldn't say it. You should watch this
for like a 70 or 45 year, 53-year-old.
Hell, you can watch just Discovery and know what happens to Pike.
That's true. That's true. They go back and talk about it. I did forget that happened in Discovery.
And now Pike knows what happens to Pike.
Oh,
he held,
right.
He held a crystal.
Wow. I forgot that was so silly.
I know it kind of adds to his character a little bit.
It was a good episode. I'm not mad about it. I had forgotten. And because, of course, they're making a season 2 of Picard. Also, by the way, they announced that they're making a season 3 of Picard.
Yeah, well, I mean, you might as well while he's still kicking.
Yep. Here's the trailer. We'll watch this and then we can talk about it if you want.
Okay. Season 2 Star Trek Day trailer, Star Trek Picard. Here we go. Play.
Our future, we have to repair the past.
Ugh.
February 2022.
As a man who chose the stars.
Oh, we're back.
But after all this time,
Back on the ground.
I wonder, have you been seeking or running?
Some sort of flower. Okay.
Do you recall what I said, Jean-Luc?
Yep.
When last we parted,
We already knew Q was here.
the trial never ends.
Q, I am way
The
too
trial
old
never
for
ends.
your bullet.
He snapped it before he could say a bad word.
Something moved us.
Can't swear in a trailer, you know.
Yeah.
Q went back in time and turned our world into a totalitarian nightmare.
Why did Q turn it?
See what this means? Time has been broken.
I don't know.
No, how can it be broken? There's time accords. You can't do that.
Andrew, shh.
Oh, she has a Romulan kid now.
To heal
Okay.
our future is to go back and repair the past. There are ways of
Time travel.
Great.
Oh, hey.
That's a Borg.
Now what?
Does this person look familiar at all?
That looks like a Borg to me.
It looks like the Borg Queen to me.
Which Borg queen though?
From the movie.
Not the one that blows up in the Delta Quadrant.
No. The one from First Contact.
Well, why are we driving police cars now?
They had to go back to the past. Were you not watching the trailer?
That far to the past?
Apparently.
Man, they ran out of budget for running around Los Angeles 2021.
But even in the darkest of circumstances, there is a light.
Is our friend gonna get assimilated?
Where are you taking us?
Home.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
Yeah. That was kind of my reaction to seeing that trailer. It was like, oh, this is, okay. It's like, you see the, like, oh, they've turned it into a fascist future and whatever. Star Trek has done that before. That's not, like, something brand new ever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but also we have to go back to the past. And you're like, oh,
This is the Kurtzman thing again with timelines versus alternate realities that we got into during that movie.
Look, man, no one in Star Trek knows how timelines work. Don't worry about it or try to follow it too close or you're going to feel bad because they're going to do some dumb stuff in this show. I can already tell. At one point, they say, we have 3 days to save the future.
You have infinite days
trailer.
to save the future if you're allowed to go
No,
back
you
to the
don't. You only
past.
have 3, Andrew. You only got 3.
Someone needs to sit these people down and make them watch Star Trek and understand how their own timeline system works. It's been well established for many years.
3 days.
3 days to go back. Yeah,
Anyway,
course.
so who knows? I don't know. I'm glad John Delancey still gets work. I don't know. Don't know what else to say about this.
I'd be very happy to see Q show up.
Yeah.
But
He had a cool look in this.
Q versus the Borg. Q because of the Borg. Q trying to use the Borg. I mean,
it looked like Q did some stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to use the implication in the trailer, which again is also potentially misleading because trailers are often misleading. It looks like they're going to use the Borg to somehow go back in time to undo whatever it is Q did somehow, which doesn't make a lot of sense because that's not how you undo things that Qs do. But
I'm just curious why they're still using the Borg again after all this from the last season. Like, it's got to tie back into the cube and to a whole bunch of stuff. But like, if they undo the Romulan thing, I'm going to be like done with Picard for sure. Also, I didn't see Whoopi Goldberg in there.
Correct.
She's supposed to be in there somewhere.
My guess is she gets like a cameo role at some level and is not a main cast member.
Okay, in order of excitement for that, Strange New Worlds, Prodigy, Discovery, Picard, and that should tell you something.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm with you, but I'm going to put Picard ahead of Discovery.
I think those are interchangeable for me. Yeah.
The other ones are probably there. And I don't know. I'm not super high on Prodigy either, but also I'm not against it.
I think I have an interest level that you wouldn't due to a family situation.
Totally. And that's like, not everything has to be for me, and I'm okay with that.
I mean, and
but
I think
I'm
people often forget that, and so like, even though I'm staring at this Picard and Discovery thing and being like, oh, I don't know about this, people shouldn't take that to be like negative overall. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. It's made for you. Then, Picard's not going to be made for everybody. Prodigy's not going to be made for everybody. Strange New Worlds is definitely not going to be made for everybody. If you're into like super into disco, you might not love Strange New Worlds.
And like, to be clear, right? Like, Discovery seems to have a large audience. The same with Picard seemed to have a large audience. So, some number of those. Oh, excuse me. Whoa. Some number of people must have liked those shows, or else they would have just stopped watching.
Yeah.
And, we watched them somewhat out of obligation due to this podcast, but not like.
No, I think that it would have been
stopped. If it was terrible, we could have just turned it off.
I think it would have been very easy to be like, we don't watch this. Like I'm not beholden
like we could have. Yeah, like we could have stopped in the middle of season 3 of Discovery, and I wouldn't have shed too many tears.
I liked it enough to finish it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we got there, right? And Picard, again, we were curious because, making a show with Picard again.
I mean, up until the last minute there, it was holding together.
Yeah, was
ish.
But it wasn't completely awful until the very end, for sure.
Yeah.
And so maybe, I don't know, maybe they did better in all this back in time and forward in time and fascist future or whatever.
It's very possible that a trailer does not communicate what they're doing.
As even the original trailers for the first season of Picard did not, right? So,
yep.
Who knows?
I mean, you would hope.
I think I'm willing to give everything on here a shot, and we will see how much of them I'm willing to stick with.
Yeah, I wonder who the creative team behind Prodigy is. Because you're right, it does kind of give off a little bit of the Airbender vibe.
It gives off Airbender vibes to me. And like, as a person who never really watched a lot of Airbender, I can only say vibes because it's extremely popular now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about that show because I never really watched it.
They are the creators of Ninjago, Troll Hunters, Hotel Transylvania, The Lego Movie, and The Croods: A New Age.
The original Lego Movie?
2014.
All right. Well, that movie is great. So, feels like this is in good hands then.
Yeah. Yeah, I could watch that.
like I said, I will give it a shot, I think. And we'll see if I stick with it based on the tone and stuff. If it's like not again, not being for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I do want to see it because I want to know what it's about, and that's all. If I don't need to stick with it week in and week out.
Nickelodeon has a pretty good track record when they tried stuff like this. So
yeah, I am curious, right? And is it going to be streaming only, or is it going to show on like TV?
I think it's Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus.
Okay, interesting.
But I don't know how they are going to timing wise release them.
So I learned in the course of watching Lower Decks the last couple weeks, that show airs on TV in Canada. Apparently.
Which?
Canada? Lower Decks?
Lower Decks airs on TV.
In Canada.
Huh.
But not in the US. In the US, it's streaming only.
Huh.
So,
I don't know
oh,
here we go.
What that's about?
I should have read Wikipedia. Okay. Premieres October 28th on Paramount Plus, then airs on Nickelodeon, then airs on, it's alternating. So the Paramount Plus gets it first, and then it goes to Nickelodeon.
Interesting.
And then Paramount Plus gets the second season first, and then it goes to Nickelodeon. Anyway, a crew of young aliens in the Delta Quadrant find a Starfleet NX ship, the USS Protostar.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to make it to the Alpha Quadrant for whatever reason. I don't know why a bunch of Delta Quadrant aliens would want to go to the Alpha Quadrant.
Probably because the training hologram tells them.
Yeah, true.
All right. Hey, you know what? Maybe that'll be good. I don't know. That's the plot of Voyager, basically. And Voyager was an all right show, so can't be too mad.
It's funny that she's on a ship in the Delta Quadrant getting another crew back to the Alpha Quadrant.
10,000% they did that on purpose, right?
100%, yeah. Oh, here we go. Some cast is in here. Do you know who any of the cast are?
No, I know nothing.
Okay.
They
Jason
may have talked about it.
Mantzoukas,
Okay, I know that name.
D. Bradley Baker.
I don't know that name.
Really? You.
I'm sure you're gonna tell me here who it is, but I don't know. Off the top of my head.
Sorry, he was in a lot of the Avatar stuff. He did I think he did the temple voice for Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, okay.
He's really famous for doing he's really famous, for doing Captain Rex and a bunch of the clones in the Clone Wars shows.
Other shows that I never saw.
Yeah. I guess that would make sense that you wouldn't know. He does voice for Overwatch too. I don't know who he does in Overwatch, but
it's a lot of people in Overwatch.
Yeah,
so.
There's a bunch. I can't say that you would know off the top of your head, but yeah, I guess since you haven't watched Clone Wars, you wouldn't know D. Bradley Baker's voice.
I did watch Legends of the Hidden Temple though, so
I mean that thing's so modulated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't sound.
Kate Mulgrew plays Catherine Janeway.
Shocker.
I'm trying to find anybody else that I would know. I don't recognize any of the other names off the top. Oh, yeah, I recognize this guy's face, though. James Raymond Simpson, who was in a bunch of light television stuff. He's like a character actor.
Okay.
Yeah. I got really excited because I saw the last name Campbell here, and I thought it was Bruce Campbell, but it's not.
Oh, my God, Andrew, you're literally talking to, like, my heart's desire.
I know. His name is...
Put Bruce Campbell in everything. I want it.
Billy Campbell. Whoa. Okay, I'm glad I clicked this guy's name. Because I didn't remember that's who it was. That's so funny. Billy Campbell's the guy that plays the Rocketeer.
Oh, hey, wow.
Okay, so he's in this as a character, but I didn't know this about him. He lost the job of William Riker.
No. In auditions or something?
Yeah, in auditions to Jonathan Frakes.
Wow.
He was
what
the
a
first
different show that would have been.
He was the first choice of producers to play the role of William Riker, but lost the role to Jonathan Frakes. He was in the show's second season in Outrageous Okana. Oh,
he's that guy.
he's reprising his role
As Okana?
as Okana. Yeah.
Wow. That is cool.
Okay, man, I have not seen his name in a long time. Billy Campbell.
I totally forgot that's who that was.
Totally crazy. He looks like Dash Rendar. It's really funny.
Kind of, right?
Well, that was a fun trip down memory lane.
Very cool. I'm glad.
Possible that Robert Beltran shows up as Chakotay, maybe.
You know
I
what?
don't know how,
Maybe it would be a one of those. What do you call them? Like a holodeck program or something.
Yeah.
I could believe it. That's cool.
Cool.
Like I said,
What
I
a
think-
bunch of weird connections. Anyway, Star Trek. That was fun.
Yep. And I think it is cool that we're, Strange New Worlds looks fun. It's hard to know because they really haven't shown any like footage from the show. They've just shown the characters and kind of like, stills and stuff.
Mhm.
But the idea seems like the thing that you and I were asking for. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed. And, maybe this Prodigy thing will turn out cool. Who knows? And, maybe they'll turn it around with Discovery and Picard season 2. Who can say?
Until then, podcast, wewergamers.com. Stuff we missed, stuff that you love that's in Lower Decks that we didn't talk about. All that stuff can go there.
Yeah. And we're going to keep watching Lower Decks. Maybe we'll talk about it on the next Subspace transmission.
Yeah, there'll be 4 more episodes to talk about by then.